Welcome to another realm. Prepare to journey into the unknown. Look for answers, help those lost souls. We get a bit spicy and very bold. The passion for the untold. Love, laugh, and live life. We find missing here. We love spirits here. We find real clues here. Tara listens to important words sent to her from another realm. Words that get mystery solved. Thank you to the higher powers, always sending the rays of light to protect us all.
Be many people reaching out for those services.
Knowing what we know.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today is an incredibly difficult day. It is with profound sadness that I can confirm that we have found the body of a small child, which we believe to be Parker. For nearly 2 weeks, so many people woke up hoping it would be the day Parker came home. Instead, we are here sharing news that it is heartbreaking for his family and for everyone who has been carrying that hope.
I am so sorry. I am so sorry to his family. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Okay, you guys can hear me now, right? I'm so sorry. Rest in peace, you beautiful boy. No sound?
Want to start over? I'll start over. Good afternoon, everyone. Today's an incredible...
Okay. Can you hear what they're saying? And you can hear me? Okay. All right. And you can hear the video? Okay. Thank you very much. Okay. Let's go.
Difficult day. It is with profound sadness that I can confirm that we have found the body of a small child, which we believe to be Parker. For nearly 2 weeks, so many people woke up hoping it would be the day Parker came home. Instead, we are here sharing news that it is heartbreaking for his family and for everyone who has been carrying that hope. Our thoughts are with Parker's family, loved ones, friends, and everyone who has been affected by this tragedy. On Tuesday, we received information from a member of the public who located evidence consistent with the clothing Parker was last known to be wearing. Search teams were deployed, and as a result of those efforts, the body of a small child has been located. It is believed Parker entered into a deep culvert on the west side of Deerfoot Trail, where he traveled into a network of pipes that crossed under Deerfoot Trail. His body was found in a small pipe on the east side of Deerfoot Trail. The Calgary Fire Department required specialized equipment to enter the tunnel system as the conditions were extremely unsafe. It's believed Parker was wearing all of the clothing he was last seen wearing when he entered the tunnel system. However, his shoes likely came off at some point and washed out of the culvert at a later time. The terrain is challenging and forms part of a water environment. As with any search involving water, environmental conditions can affect what can be observed and when evidence may become visible. While exhaustive efforts were made throughout this investigation, it is not always possible to completely eliminate every possibility within a large search area. Just a few days ago, I spoke about seeing the very best of our city. That remains true today. As I said earlier this week, in my 35 years with the Calgary Police Service, I have never seen such dedicated, extensive, and sustained search efforts. Searchers, volunteers, police officers, and partner agencies committed themselves to finding Parker and bringing him home safely. Many of the people involved in this search formed a connection to Parker despite never meeting him. People from across Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and around the world shared Parker's information, searched for him, and held on to hope for his safe return. I want to acknowledge the efforts of our members, partner agencies, and search volunteers. Since Parker was reported missing, they worked around the clock under challenging conditions, covering vast areas of terrain, following up on thousands of pieces of information, reviewing extensive digital evidence, and pursuing every avenue available to us. Today's outcome is deeply felt by those who spent countless hours looking for him. Like everyone else, we hoped for a different outcome. Throughout this investigation, Parker's family has demonstrated extraordinary strength and courage while enduring every parent's worst nightmare. On behalf of the Calgary Police Service, I want them to know they have been at the center of every decision we have made. We remain grateful for the trust they place in us during such an incredibly difficult time. Today, we grieve alongside them and share in the profound sadness of this loss. While today's news brings an end to the search for Parker, our responsibility to his family does not end here. We remain committed to understanding as much as we can about what occurred and providing those answers to his family wherever possible. We understand people will have questions, and we are committed to providing as much information as we can while respecting the integrity of the investigation and the privacy of those affected. Behind every search map, every briefing, every tip, and every hour spent looking was a little boy who was deeply loved by his family. Parker's family is asking for privacy as they navigate this profound loss, and we respectfully ask that request to be honored. Before I conclude, I want to thank the thousands of people who stood with Parker and his family over the past 13 days. People from across our city and around the world searched, shared information, checked their properties, put up posters, followed updates, and held on to hope for Parker's safe return. The compassion shown throughout this investigation has been extraordinary, and I know it has meant a great deal to Parker's family. While today is not the outcome,
Fill the screen up with green hearts, please. Flood the screen with green hearts for Parker, please.
anyone wanted, I hope Parker's family takes some comfort in knowing they were not alone. So many people cared deeply about their son and wanted to help bring him home. For that, we are sincerely grateful. We will now take questions, and I have Inspector Lee Wayne here and Sergeant Rich Wool.
So are you able to comment, first of all, about that area and, what's the likelihood that you guys were in that area previously, or do we think that you've been there a long time? Just kind of go over our experience.
Yeah, the area in which he was located, we have been in that creek area. The clue that was located by the public pushed us into a direction where we needed to believe that it would push us into an area that needed more technical assistance. As the chief said, the system of pipes and tunnels is like a labyrinth in there. And that's why we needed the assistance of the technical teams of the CFD and their aquatic rescue teams today. that area, like the land area, had all been searched. The creek had all been searched. It had been flown, and we had put canine units in there. The clue that was located, we used canine today. That caused us to move further up the creek, which then there were some other things that we located that forced us into the tunnels and the pipework system of the city in quite a large distance. I mean, I can't comment on that because obviously there's a process now for examination, but I would suggest quite some time.
Are you able to comment on the sort of the size dimensions of this pipe?
Yeah.
We know often neurodivergent children like to be in confined
It's
spaces.
sad.
It looked like he
Yeah.
climbed in there as a comfort thing and maybe got
Potentially, the pipe is a 4-foot concrete pipe that goes into a myriad of other pipes. The labyrinths of pipes change in different diameters.
He was probably hot. He was probably hot and was crawling in there to cool down. I don't know when it was. I would say like 4 or 5 days ago, I started to get like really panicky. I'm like, I just had a feeling. I'm like, he's gone. They're not gonna get him in time. Oh, so sad. His parents, I feel so sorry for his parents and family. Yeah, most of them have bars, which I find this surprising, honestly.
Once you go through Deerfoot and onto the east side, and then they split up into multiple different pipes in different directions that move all the way through East Calgary, and he was located in one of those pipes.
So this wouldn't be a situation where somebody took a
Wow.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. No.
This was no street.
No. Yes. What we know is that we relocated the remains approximately 450 to 500 feet inside of the network of pipes through
Wow.
Deerfoot, underneath Deerfoot, onto the eastern side where they split up. The aquatic team encountered even some issues around unsafe conditions due to a buildup of gas in that area. And so we transitioned to the east side, and that's where we continued moving east and north and south, and that's where we located the remains. Yes. Yes, they do. There's a number of pipes in there that go down to 2 and 3 feet. Yes.
How much time was it between when the canine unit first suspected that child went inside the network and then the actual?
We've been working it this morning. From the clue that was located from the member of the public, the dogs had indicated in that certain area. And so that pushed us further east and continued to move east. And then we located a number of other clues, which then forced us into the pipework system with the aquatic team.
So likely the shoe wasn't there when you guys went there first.
No, and we believe that, like the chief said, that Parker entered into that pipe with all of the clothing that he was wearing. And then over the course of time, some of that clothing had come out of the pipe into the creek, which was then located by a member of the public last night.
So you've been speaking with the family.
I haven't been speaking with the family, but I know that Inspector Wayne's team has.
In relation to the family, we've had dedicated family liaison officers with them throughout this journey, typically keeping in contact with them every few hours. We were able to, obviously, there was lots of media attention. We were able to speak with the family in advance. Appreciation to the media for holding back on some of that information. And so we have family liaison officers with the family right now who have managed to reach out to extended family and pass the message before this conference today. And myself, the team, the chief have met on a regular cadence with the family throughout, just updating them on the investigation. But our condolences go out to them today.
Wow.
You know, down at the scene, you know, there was activity and then all of a sudden it just got so completed when I presume it was discovered. Can you just talk about how police and everybody's doing?
From the investigative side, we've been working on this from the initial outset. The core team of investigators haven't stopped. They've been at work 15, 18 hours a day for the last, is it 12 days? And so we always held that little piece of hope. And today is a somber day for the members involved, for the searchers involved, for the community, for everybody involved. It's a somber day for Calgary today, but really our thoughts are with Parker's family and friends.
So sorry. Oh, so sorry.
Yeah. The remains were located at 2:30. I was there at the scene when they were located. Obviously, this is, like the chief said, not the result that we wanted. But like I said on Monday, this is like a jigsaw puzzle, and we needed those pieces from the public, and the public responded by giving us that little piece to put us in an area that pushed us towards finding Parker. Obviously, this is not the result we wanted. We wanted to find him alive. But we are relieved, and I've been speaking to all the search teams and all the other search managers. We're relieved to be able to bring Parker home. And that's always been our goal and objective throughout this entire search. And so, yes, we are very sad, and we are very deflated in the fact that we couldn't find him alive, but relieved that we've brought him home.
Is anyone able to speak to the person who found the shoes or the shoe, the initial case? And obviously this is a highly public case. How are they doing? They must have known when they came upon those shoes that they belong to that little boy.
So first of all, let's acknowledge the effort of the community.
Okay, pause for a second. Hi, everybody coming in. This is live news coverage of the little boy named Parker in Calgary, Alberta, that went missing. He's just been found. He was 11 years old, and unfortunately he's deceased. And they found him in a tunnel system for the city. He was deep in the tunnels. So, very sad news, though I'm glad he's found, but sad news, right? My heart breaks for his family. We will carry on with our normal schedule after this is over, okay?
It was really part of our strategy to energize the community, to be the eyes and ears. We knew we had a focused search area that we could put resources into. But part of the strategy was we had a community that was fully engaged and was searching in addition. That was all value added. And that was where we were hoping to generate the tips from.
I had locals contacting me, which if you're watching, thank you all of you for reaching out to me. Because they've been watching my coverage on his case. Thank you for searching for him.
And that strategy's paid dividends. Unfortunately, not in the timeline that we wanted. And so the searcher involved has been searching almost every day. I spoke to her literally 30 minutes ago. I passed on the message of appreciation from the Calgary Police Service as far as her, not only her search efforts, but her willingness to keep that information confidential for the protection of the family while we worked the tip. And as we said, the tips and the investigation were going to drive the search tactics. And that's exactly what we delivered on. We got some information that then changed the scope of our search. And then that search then led us to Parker. And so to that individual, you know who you are. Thank you. Really appreciate the work, the time, the effort. And we have put some support in place for that individual. And our...
The only thing I could think of, Diana, is that he was hot, probably. He was probably hot, trying to get out of the heat, maybe. They found his clothing, yes. They found his clothing, yeah. They didn't say how, they didn't just say that how the state of his clothing was, though. But yeah, somebody that was searching found it.
Our victims assistance team are ready to support Calgarians impacted, and I'm sure there'll be many people reaching out for those services.
Knowing what we know today, has foul play been ruled out? Will there be a further investigation?
Foul play was never taken off the table from my investigative team. That was always a stream of work that we considered from the outset, which is the responsible investigative strategies with any missing person case. However, all of the information that we received, and we always try and follow the evidence, was the fact that every time we saw Parker, he was alone. He was walking freely. There was no indication anybody was following him. And it would be a unique set of circumstances and coincidences that would lead to any wrongdoing or harm to Parker. Yeah. However, we did do our due diligence, but based on
my reading, you guys all saw me do my reading on the case. I didn't suspect foul play at all in this, like nothing to do with foul play. I'm getting this boy wandered away. He wandered off and got lost. So sad. Hi, beautiful. Welcome. Okay, we're almost finished this.
The information that we have and the point last seen, we still have no information that leads to any element of wrongdoing, but we remain open to that. Right now, the scene, the area of the culvert is now under the control of the Chief Medical Examiner's office. And we will follow protocols with any death investigation where we remain open until we have results in relation to what the known cause of death was. But right now, as it stands, we are still believing that this is simply a case of misadventure with no criminality involved in it at the current time.
Yeah. Wow.
Can you tell us how far is it from the place Parker was last saw?
All right. Well, we'll carry on. We'll carry on now. Rest in peace, Parker. You're such a beautiful boy. Rest in peace, sweetheart. May his family get peace eventually. I'm so sorry. They said it was a ways, Miriam. He was like 500 feet into the pipe. Yeah, 500 feet into the pipe, and it was the pipe system for Calgary. Yeah. Love and prayers to his family and friends. My heart is with you all. Super sad. All right, so let's carry on with what we're doing. How far from his home? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that. I'll go back and look at that another time. I don't know how far. I don't know Calgary, so I'm not sure. Yeah, rest in peace, sweet boy. Okay, so how's it going, everybody? Hi, come on in. Hit the thumbs up button, please. We need to have some more thumbs up action happening here in this live, please. One sec here. Okay, what are we at here? There's only 60 likes. Up them up, please. We got 201 people watching. I would like it to be matched, please. Please hit the thumbs up button. It doesn't cost you any money. It's free. And if you're new in the background, please subscribe. You'll enjoy my channel. Please subscribe. Okay, so look at what I'm wearing. I told you guys last week that we're going to have merch coming. Well, I'm the merch maker. So, yay. One of my beautiful moderators here got me these transfers to make merch with. Thank you so much, Donna. And so I tried my first one today and it worked. So this is just a test sample. So I've actually got shirts on order now, so I can start making them soon. I love it so much. You ready? Ta-da! Isn't it great? So the next ones I'm making, I'm actually going to cut out. It's going to be round. It's going to be round. I'm going to cut out the white here, so it's going to be round. Yeah, isn't that pretty? Love it. So yeah, so the next one's going to be all round. And I've got black and white shirts ordered. If people want this color or like a purple, maybe I'll just get some purple ones too, and maybe some pink. I think purple would be really good because it matches the purple in the logo. I'm practicing. Savvy's gonna be the shirt guy. So yeah. Savvy's gonna be my shirt guy. So give me a few days and I will have the listing back up on the website. I love this. I love this, yeah. So they'll be up on the website soon. Thumbs up on all your devices. Thank you so much. Number 37. Thank you so much, everybody. Oh, I love you guys. So yeah, and also before we get started, Spirit Whispers Botanicals, my sale, I need to double check my website. My sale is still on. I just need to check the date here. Give me 2 seconds. Summer sale is running until the 31st. So you got until Friday to take advantage of the full summer sale I have running. It's still going. And the very big thing, though, I'm trying to push is sign up for my monthly Mini Lux subscription. Okay, because right now you can get it on sale and then it locks you in at your sale price every month when it comes out. So I'm actually going to put the link in the chat. So if you've been wanting to subscribe to my beautiful box of products you get every single month, now is the time to do it. I'm going to post it in the chat. Give me a sec here. Copy. Okay, here is the link. There you go. Yeah, so, wow. How did that happen? How did my other account do that? Oh, that's wild. Okay, anyways, so now is the time to register for a monthly Mini Lux box. I got 4 new subscribers the other day, and thank you all so much for joining. So bring it on. You have till Friday, okay? Yeah. Well, I have another account up top here, and it's called Karma Time Again. That's one of my alt accounts. That's freaking weird. How did it do that? Huh. Okay, anyways. So yeah. Sign up now, you get yourself a discount, and that is a discount technically that applies every single month. So it's a hell of a deal. So please register. If you know anyone that would love to register, then please register them. And if you get a friend of yours to register, I'll give you a gift, okay? I'll give you a special goodie, okay? Yeah. Hi, BB. Okay, so that's my sales pitch for my store. Give me 1 sec. I have to advertise for myself, right? It's the only way to go. Here is this part. Okay, so this is the page where you sign up for the Mini Lux box, and you get 20% off if you sign up right now. Okay? Every month is totally different. Every month you get my newest and latest goodies. And every month, each box is basically like a reading for you. Basically, it's a reading via products and cards I put inside. So yeah. Thank you so much, BB. Appreciate you. I appreciate all of you. Donna, thank you so much. And what else? Readings. Okay, I'm still doing readings. The readings are included in the sale until Friday. Okay, so if you've been wanting to get a reading with me, do it now while it's on sale. Okay, it goes back up to full price on Saturday. Readings are at 50% off right now. So hook me up. Bring me some work, please, ladies. You guys know me. I'm always working. I love working my ass off. So please bring me the work. And doggo soap, yes. Okay, so we're going to get started here. We're doing the Nancy Guthrie and Jack and Lilly. I saw all over Facebook today, people were posting about how the genealogy DNA came back to a second cousin. And you guys saw me, I freaked. I was like, holy shit, I was right. Because I was saying, like, a distant relative. I remember I said it since day one. I'm like, I'm getting somebody in the background, somebody that Nancy knows, somebody that they've at least like sat down and had dinner together. And then lately, though, more lately, I've been more deep into that. Like I see certain family members, I'm not going to name them, but at the outer ring. Okay. Well, if it turns out this is correct, I'm really proud of myself. And the whole point my whole point is people please pay attention to me. Okay. It's literally not about the views on my channel. It's pay attention to me that a lot of the time now I'm right. And that could be used for importance. That's my whole point. Okay. It could be, yeah, like that's my number one thing. I just want people to listen so things can get done. That's all. So progress can be made and help can be done, you know? So I am very, very proud of myself. This last, like, I don't know, at least this last year, I have been nailing it. And I'm very, very proud. Proud of myself. There's lots of times though where I'm not bang on, but then there's other times I'm totally bang on. So yeah. Yeah. Mixed hair DNA suspect. Yeah. So we'll have to see. Nothing has really come out yet. It's funny, you know, it's like all afternoon I'm sitting here going, okay, a second cousin, right? If a second cousin would make sense, it's somebody that would be comfortable in Nancy's home. It'd be somebody that Nancy would be comfortable to open the door to. Was this person at Nancy's birthday party? What, like, there's a lot of questions now. And then, but earlier I'm like, okay, if you know, say second cousin, how the hell did second cousin's hair get in Nancy's bed? That I can't get past. How did that hair get in Nancy's bed? So I'm hoping this is really good, bang on news soon, and they're ready to crack this case. Yeah. Hi, Sunshine Girl. Good to see you. Yeah, I still get that, and I don't know how it fits in yet. I'm waiting to see how it all plays out, Sunshine. Could be somebody they know. Like, it could be people they know. They know each other. I'm waiting to find out. Hopefully we find out soon. She was threatened. Well, yeah. Crazy stuff, eh? Okay, so I was gonna start today. You're welcome, babe. I was gonna start today with Ashley Bamfield, and then we'll jump to Brian Enton. Does that sound good? Hi, John. Welcome. Oh, okay. Okay, bye. You're gone. Yeah. Yep, exactly. Okay, so we're going to jump on and start with Ashley Bamfield first. And see what she says. I love Ashley. Thank you, Ashley, for being amazing. I say this every time. Fair use commentary. All video credit goes to Ashley Bamfield. Please subscribe to her. Please give her a like. And let's see what she has to say.
To put Chris Nanos, the sheriff of Pima County in Arizona, to the test, and to make some very big headlines in the Savannah Guthrie, Nancy Guthrie missing persons case. Sheriff Nanos hasn't granted a lot of interviews, and certainly very few to the major networks and the big podcasts of late. We are 6 months into the case of Nancy Guthrie with still no answers, no leads certainly that have been made.
Okay, I'm going to stop it there. Remember, this here always gets me. Every time I see this corner of the yard here, something's going on here. Maybe it's a water leak. Every time I see her backyard, I zoom in on this area here.
Into the
like, is this blood that they didn't?
And the big podcast, certain missing persons case, to the major networks and the big podcasts of late. We are sick.
Is that blood maybe, and they're just not telling us? Those of you watching, how many of you seen this before in the backyard here? It's on all of the early footage. I assumed that it was just wet from like watering the garden. I wonder if this is actually something and they're not, of course, not telling anybody, right? Or is just they're watering. Maybe the garden's got a leak there. I always found this odd.
6 months into the case of Nancy Guthrie with still no answers, no leads certainly that have been made public, and no solutions as to where she is and where Porch Guy is. But there's so many questions, right? Still.
What is your question there? Can you see a floor lift anywhere near the garage door? What do you mean? Like a handicap lift? Or what are you meaning? A handicap lift, or like something's been lifted? Like a trap door type thing? What are you referring to with that, Nina? Okay, I'll keep going.
Foot. And looking back all these months, a lot of questions about maybe there have been some missteps along the way. And this,
I highly doubt she's got an underground bunker, to be honest. I can almost guarantee it there isn't one. All of those houses in Tucson, at least the houses I've been in Tucson, there's no basements. There's nothing. It's straight onto the straight foundation on the ground. I don't think that there would be an underground crawl space type thing. I highly doubt it. Unless maybe her pool equipment might be down, but I don't think so. I'm almost positive Nancy's house is on cement foundation. It's too difficult for them to dig in Arizona like that. And Nancy's house is old, right? I don't know what the year of Nancy's house is. I'm guessing probably 1970s or so. Yep. Yep, slab house. It might actually be part adobe.
Young man named Wyatt Sharp asked those questions. So first and foremost, you should know, I've known Wyatt Sharp since he
okay.
was about 12, because Wyatt Sharp reached out to me and asked if he could interview me, and said, I have a YouTube show and I interview, big name people like the Prime Minister of Canada. And I thought, who is this kid? And I clicked a link and I watched his show and I thought, this is a really smart 12-year-old kid. I'm doing this interview. And since then, I've helped Wyatt Sharp along in navigating his career. And boy, what a career it is. If you've ever seen his show, it's called The Sharp Exchange. Highly advise that you check it out and then subscribe. He's just a really brilliant interviewer. And I'm not going to say kid. He's actually one of the smarter journalists I know, and has been for years.
That's nice that they're shouting out this kid. He's going to do fantastic. His channel and his journalism career is going to explode now after this. He's going to do so well.
He's a prodigy. Honest to God, wait for it. We're all going to work for Wyatt one year. But I will say this, he scored the interview with Sheriff Chris Nanos, and he asked a lot of really pointed questions that I think the sheriff might not have been expecting, because there were big, long pauses in many of the answers that the sheriff was going to. I think maybe the sheriff thought, oh, it's a high school project, this will be a breeze. Not so.
Good for him.
This was a tough interview, and Wyatt made some very big headlines. Like headline number one, Wyatt was able to assess how Chris Nanos, the sheriff of Pima County, feels about the FBI director, Kash Patel. And he was highly critical. Listen to this exchange between Wyatt and Sheriff Chris Nanos.
Well, I don't know the FBI director, never met him. So my relationship is what we see or hear as you do on the news.
I see a baby Brian Enton here. I see a little Brian Enton in this early days here. This is really, really cool.
Okay, so there you have it. That's a rift, and a bit shocking that the sheriff has not spoken with the FBI director, because this is a really high profile case, right? Really high profile case. The FBI director's been in Tucson, met with this team. There's this joint task force between the Pima County Sheriff's Department and the FBI. They've been working on this for 6 months, and the FBI director was there. And the president weighed in on this case. Hate to say, the president said like 6 months ago, "Oh, we're real close to, resolving this."
Yeah.
My words, not his, but no, that was not the case. And what the heck information was the president getting? And I only assume he was getting it from his FBI director. So what information did Kash Patel have from his field office? And why no communication between the homicide detectives from Pima County and the FBI field office agents? This is nuts to me, but great headline that Wyatt scored. And not only that, he was able to say that the core group of investigators is still the same. I've been wondering how long it's going to take for it to dissipate, but at least Chris Nanos said that core group is still there. Here's how he put it.
But the core membership has been there from day one, and they continue to meet daily.
Huge headline that Wyatt.
That's really good news. That's really good. I'm glad he said that. Actually, kid, I literally just let out a bit of a sigh of relief here. Thank God. He did underestimate this kid. I think he believed this kid was nobody important, to be honest. Good for him.
Was able to score as well with the sheriff of Pima County, and that was that You know, all this discussion about the unknown male DNA that was found inside the home of Nancy Guthrie, DNA that didn't belong to anybody, that Nancy had in her immediate circle. So maybe it's the killer / the kidnapper. Well, that was
Okay, see, there's the liquid, there's the fluid. There's that fluid I've been talking about. It probably is just a garden leak, but it looks really fucking weird to me, to be honest. Look at it. It's everywhere.
just this big hot mess. I mean, it went down to a very, very reputable lab.
And that person walking there is really eyeballing it. Look at him looking at it here. Is that blood? Is that blood? And they've not said anything. It looks like blood, doesn't it? I can't zoom any farther. Yeah, I can't zoom in, sorry. That looks like freaking blood to me, and I've been watching it since day one. And look at this agent's face here.
Was just this big hot mess. I mean, it went down to a very, very reputable lab in Florida. But then after that, we could get very little information about what are you doing with it? What's happening with that? All we heard was, well, it's a mixture and we got to separate it, and it's a really tricky process. So like, no, come on. Lots of crime scenes have mixtures. And so this one did too. But the headline that Wyatt was able to get was that they are actually.
Okay. Floor lift with an underground bunker. Okay, I don't see Nancy's. I'm guarantee you Nancy's house does not have even a crawl space underneath it. It will guarantee you it's foundation right down to the ground. But I will keep that in mind. I don't listen to any other psychics. Okay, you guys all know that. I will keep this in my mind, though. Bunkers. There's the places that would have bunkers would be the larger houses that are out in the hills, or further out in the counties. But the main city streets and stuff there in Tucson, they are all straight down to the foundation buildings. Yeah. So I will keep that in mind. Thank you for that. But it's nearby. I'll keep that in mind. Thank you for that. I was getting a cave for a while as well. Yeah, on the outskirts, in the outer, in the outskirt houses. I get it, in the hillsides. And down south, Cochise County. Okay, well, I'll keep that in mind. Let's keep going.
Doing what we were thinking they might be doing, and that is forensic genetic genealogy. Fanning out to the tens, hundreds, or thousands of people that might share a little bit of that DNA and figuring out if they might have a connection to the person whose DNA it actually is. And that is a gumshoe detective process that could take months and years. And that is what the sheriff actually conceded and confirmed to Wyatt Sharp that that's the process they're in right now. Here's how he put it.
We're doing all of it. And
Okay.
that's really the labs are doing it all. They're looking at genealogy, but they're also looking at specific pieces of evidence that they're hoping to get enough codi to say, this is who we're looking at.
And then the big question. Wyatt asked Sheriff Nanos if he thinks that Nancy Guthrie is still alive. Listen to the answer, because I think this is very telling. Obviously, so many people think after 6 months how How could she? How could she possibly be alive? And we almost expect the sheriff to say that, but here's how he put it.
I believe that I'm going to support the Guthrie family every way possible. And if they believe she's alive, so do I.
And then
That's interesting, eh? It's interesting he said that. It's interesting. You guys all know that day one, I don't believe Nanos is involved in it, okay? I've had thousands of people ask me, do you think Nanos is involved in Nancy's disappearance? And my flat out answer is no, I don't. But there's a but there. I feel he has seriously jeopardized this case, like big time screwed this case right up. But I also am getting, though, that him and Nancy knew each other. They've known of each other. They know each other. Like in one of my readings, I was actually getting that there's possibly a birthday card from Nanos to Nancy. As like she is kind of like an acquaintance, somebody that's considered like important of that's an important person of Tucson, that type of thing. Where if they were going through the grocery store, they would say, hey, how you doing? They know each other, that type of thing. Yeah, but as far as him being involved, like in the crime itself, no. I don't get it at all. But he definitely did screw this one up big time.
the big question. I assume there's an open line of communication between Savannah Guthrie and her family and the Pima County Sheriff's Department through the sheriff himself. And why?
Okay, everybody's been asking me about this treehouse too in the backyard. I do get a weird reading in the treehouse. I do. I get when I see the treehouse, I think of a deer blind. It's like when my guides, they kind of show me a deer blind. So that's like a viewpoint. Somebody was using that as a viewpoint to check out comings and goings and patterns of Nancy's patterns of her daily activities. When was she outside, out back? When did she leave the back doors unlocked? Definitely. Definitely. As for the treehouse being a part of the activity the day she went missing, well, maybe. They could have been hiding in the treehouse. So yeah, it is definitely a point of where they were watching. Excuse me, watching her. Yeah. The treehouse, yeah. I believe he slept there a few nights. Yeah, might have. Very well might have. Okay. Let's keep going. Remember when I found the treehouse on Google Earth a few weeks ago and I was like, what the fuck is that? Remember? I pointed it out, I'm like, what the fuck is this? Because it made my hair stand on end. Okay.
Wyatt asked very pointedly, have you been speaking with Savannah? And the answer was pretty astounding. Apparently not. Have a listen.
Well, our relationship is a good relationship. I mean, these are tough times. But no, I've not spoken with Savannah recently.
Our relationship is a good relationship. This is tough times. I believe what's happened here with Nanos, like, okay, just said tough times. I believe he has seriously screwed up this case. And I believe Savannah is really upset with him. And she has a very good right to be upset with him. Like, wow. Oh, and I forgot to mention you, Jen Funk. Thank you so much for becoming a member. I appreciate you very much, honey. I got a little clip for you. Thank you for being a member. Thank you, all of my members. I love you all.
Another realm just got brighter, it's true. Thanks to a member amazing like you for joining our journey through stories untold. New adventures await, more precious than gold.
That's Opal. She's our little mascot. Thank you very much, Jen Funk, for your membership. So that's how I feel about the whole Nanos thing. I think he's just totally screwed up this case. And if I'm right, I'm getting that Savannah is really upset with him. And she has damn good reason to be. I believe that her mom would have been found if he hadn't have screwed this up so much. Day one.
She has my contact number, as you and the rest of the world seems to have. But she's very gracious, and she doesn't need to contact the sheriff. She needs a team that she's very well aware of that works with her, and she's in contact with them at any moment of day, any time of day that she needs to.
So naturally, I wanted to ask, Wyatt about all the other questions that he asked Chris Nanos, and also what conducting this interview was like, and whether he thought that maybe he got this interview because the sheriff just thought he was some.
Okay, well, we're talking about the treehouse. You know what I would like to know? Some of the YouTubers that did coverage of the wash behind Nancy's house, like the first week. Do any of you out there know of anybody's coverage where they showed the treehouse? If any of you know where you can find that footage, please email it to me and I will take a look at it. I don't have time to go searching for everything. So if I know there was YouTubers in the wash. If any of them have footage of that treehouse, please let me know. Okay, and why is my karma time? Okay, well, I'm posting for myself for both accounts here. That's weird. But anyways, yeah. Okay, so let's keep going. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Please hit the thumbs up button for me. Please consider becoming a member and supporting my channel. It really, really helps me out. And gifting memberships to those watching who aren't able to get their own. That's the greatest way to be kind to people and pay it forward. I would greatly appreciate that. Okay, so let's keep going.
17-year-old kid and doesn't know that he's this like prodigy who's one of the better journalists alive today. And so here's my conversation with Wyatt, and listen carefully because there's a lot of stuff that he touched on that we're going to talk about in this interview. You've heard me talk about OneSkin before, and what keeps standing out is that it doesn't feel like just 10,000.
Okay. Well, since Ashley is advertising herself, I'm going to do mine. I might as well do mine. I'm allowed to advertise myself. Give me a second here. All right. Have you ever wanted to have all natural skincare and candles in your home and all natural room sprays made by me? Well, you can now. Would you like to have a monthly box of my latest and newest products in your home every single month? Well, you can do it with me. You order my monthly Mini Luxe subscription box, and you get a box full of my goodies delivered to your door every single month. And every box is a complete surprise for you. And right now, everything is on sale, 20% off until Friday. So time is ticking. Right now, these are my favorite. I have this in my kitchen, on my kitchen counter. And I have this in my bathroom, on my bathroom counter. And this Black Raspberry Vanilla Argan Oil Hair Mist is what I have in my hair right now. It's totally helping my fried ends in my hair. So order yourself some goodies. And I'm doing full readings at half price right now until Friday. So hook yourself up. I've got the most beautiful products. I'm really, really proud of my little store here. All right, so back to it. Back to the footage here. Okay.
Going to ask because that's what you do as a journalist and as someone in the media. But I thought to myself, I'm going to do it and probably nothing's going to come of it because there's, you know, hundreds, if not thousands of outlets around the world and, you know, in the United States who are requesting interviews with him. And so I did it. And sure enough, he responded and said, yes, I'd be happy to, which looking back on and reflecting on it, I'm sure was in part due to my age. Maybe he thought that being 17 years old, I probably would, you know, scale myself back from some of the more.
How do you book a reading? You go to my website, spiritwhisperscandles.com, and you pick general reading. And there you go. General reading, book it. I record a video for you and send it to you. Shoot me an email before, like after you pay for it and stuff. Send me an email about whatever you need me to do. Like, what are your questions? What do you want me to cover? All that stuff.
Difficult questions, but I think he might have been a little bit surprised with perhaps the magnitude of the questions that he got.
Well, and I'm going to get there because you did ask him something at the end of your interview, which I think is very telling how he answered it. We'll play that in a bit. But let's get to the headlines that really you were able to make in this interview.
Yeah.
He went after Kash Patel, the FBI director. So what did you ask and what did he say?
Yeah, so Kash Patel did an interview on Fox News where he had claimed that if the FBI, the bureau that he oversees, had obtained access to the scene earlier, that they would have been able to help with more forensic evidence and kind of get more on the ground investigation done than if it was just the Pima County Sheriff's Department on their own, which Chris Nanos took almost offense to in a way. He said Kash Patel is misinformed. He said,
wow, good for this kid for bringing up. He brought up the most important questions that needed to be asked. Fantastic work.
When Kash Patel goes out there and makes statements like the one that he did in that Fox News interview, it doesn't help anybody. He said it hurts the case was his words. So definitely a lot of, I think, frustration between them. And the most interesting part to me that I thought was very puzzling was he said that he has never spoken to the FBI director, Kash Patel, which if you're having this public back and forth in the media, what sense does it make to not call the person who is overseeing the investigation, you know, not just any other case, but one that has captivated the nation, if not the world?
Well, and that, you know, Kash Patel's boss weighed in on early. I remember him on Air Force One saying, oh, we're close. We're close to getting some kind of resolution. Those are my words, not President Trump's. But I recall thinking, well, clearly the president has spoken with the FBI director and the FBI director must be dialed in on the ground in Tucson. So it is astounding to think that they've never spoken.
That is astounding.
Totally. And I think for me, like there was a certain part of me when I was asking that question, right, that I was like, he might just say and take the approach, which he did, that it's unorthodox for the FBI director to be involved in a direct case, right, with the local sheriff's department. But my pushback on that was, yeah, but sir, it's not any other case, right? Like this does not get the same parameters that any other case does. You have thousands of leads, which does not happen with cases that aren't in the public eye. You have, you know, different ransom notes that you aren't able to verify the authenticity of. When a case is this public, clearly you should have the FBI director involved in conversation. So I was just very, very surprised when he said, I've never, not only just with respect to this case, has he never had a conversation with Kash Patel. He said he's never met Kash Patel at all, which again, was just very surprising.
Well, it's this case only.
Okay, I might be wrong here, but didn't we see Kash Patel go to Nancy's house? Again, referring to, it would probably be the YouTubers that were sitting outside. Didn't they see Kash Patel go up in a black, like Ranger, blacked out windows and stuff? Hi, Marianne. Am I wrong here?
That makes me surprised about that because Kash Patel was there. I mean, early in the case, the FBI director was actually in Tucson. He was clear to, us that it wasn't because of the Nancy Guthrie case that he was going to be there anyway. But obviously, he was there and he met with the team that's working this case. And there's been this this joint task force between Pima County Sheriff's Department and the homicide investigators and the FBI local, field agents.
Okay, so I'm just looking at Nancy's house here, and I can guarantee you this house is straight onto the foundation. There is no crawl space down here. And if there was, though, they would have checked it, right? So maybe you're reading somebody else's house.
There. So it is a little surprising, but I'll move on. Okay, there's been a lot of weird stuff in
Well,
this
actually,
case.
just really quickly on the task force point, because I asked him about that as well, because I was trying to get him to quantify or at least make some kind of a comparison between what the task force was like at the.
See, every time I look at this footage of this here, gosh, it makes me, they fucked this case up so bad. Flat out. Look at all these cars in the driveway. That driveway should have been blocked off day one, and the vehicles should have been not allowed to go up on the driveway so they could do tire track testing, right? There's so many mistakes that has happened in this case. It's very, very sad.
Quantify or at least make some kind of a comparison between what the task force was like at the very beginning compared to what it is like now. And he was definitely inferring that it has shrunk a little bit. But he did confirm that the core investigative team has remained together since the beginning of the case, which is not surprising necessarily. But we can get into this in a little bit. But he also talked a lot about some of the tactics that investigators have been using in terms of what types of DNA they're gathering and such as well. But again, I'm sure we can get into that shortly.
Well, that's exactly where I want to go because, every one of us has been wondering how much atrophying has happened with that task force. And understandably, in every case, we are past the 6-month mark. Those numbers dwindle. They have to. There are other crimes. There are other, resources that are needed elsewhere. And so I get it. Still curious about how many people are on that force, but interesting that the core is still together. So as to what they're doing, early on and then throughout the DNA reporting, the sheriff seemed to only indicate that there was a mixture of DNA, that they're using very sophisticated new technology to try to deal with, but they said little else other than that. And I feel like you kind of got further in what exactly they are doing with the DNA they found in the house.
Yeah, so I was asking him about the different types of DNA that they were gathering, and he made an analogy. He was like, are we looking at people like the second cousin, which of course was a hypothetical example, but that would mean the forensic familial genealogy, basically, which was, the same kind of construct, if you will, that was developed from the Golden State Killers case. And
okay, so this is where the second cousin talk comes in, I'm assuming. It was all over my Facebook today, and you guys saw me. I was like, holy shit, I was right. So let's continue.
And he had said that everything is on the table. They're reviewing everything, including the familial genealogy side, which I thought was interesting because he's
familial genealogy. Okay, so that's family DNA. Interesting. Okay. It's good that he said that he even mentioned it, Nanos. Maybe that was a little hint to people to say, we are on top of you.
Also ruled out, the family from being suspects in the past, the immediate family, that is. Right. So when he said that, I just thought to myself, okay, well, is this opening up, back to the family, as potential suspects? Does that mean they're still reviewing things, even though he has said in the past that the family is totally clear, which, he didn't directly answer that question either, but I just thought, again, it was an interesting kind of juxtaposition there.
Well, that's one of the things that I've been sort of toiling over for a while, and that is that it doesn't take that long to separate, mixed DNA. Otherwise, we'd never, ever solve rape cases. Those are mixed cases. Multiple murders, those are mixed cases. So it doesn't take that long. What does take a long time is the process of forensic genetic familial genealogy. And that's because whatever they found in that house that was foreign, DNA that wasn't supposed to be there, we still don't know if that's the actual killer or the porch guy.
Exactly.
We just know it's a DNA they need to figure out. Who was it? Was it the FedEx guy or was it the bad guy? And in order to do that, you can get a little piece that can fan out to be thousands of people, all who share that little piece. Then you got to do the lengthy process of gumshoe detective work. You got to find all those people, eliminate them based on, well, this guy's too old and that's a woman, and that guy hasn't left the UK and this guy has never left Mexico, whatever. You limit it down. And then when you get the possibilities, then you've actually got to follow them and pick up a pizza box or pick up a Coke can or a Kleenex. And you've got to test the DNA to find out who's your guy. And maybe that's what he's referring to about the length of time it's taken.
Which I was
just came to me. You know what I think they're doing? I think the FBI at this point is doing what they've just said. So this is not a reading, okay? This is just what I believe here. The FBI knows who they're looking at. And I believe they're doing just that. They're trying to snag DNA, and they're watching them and they're following them around town. And I firmly believe that law enforcement is on it. They know who's done this, and the justice is going to come soon. I really, really believe it. I can feel it. I can see, I literally can see psychically, I can literally see jail doors slamming. Like it's coming. Justice is coming. And I think, yeah, that's what they're doing. They're watching. I'm sure of it. I'm not going to come out and say names, Sunshine, but there's some, I've been some sort of connection. Yeah. It makes sense. It has since the very beginning. There is a connection there with that whole group of people. Big time.
Right, because going into that question, I framed it in that way, right? I was like, usually DNA testing doesn't take this long. What's the holdup? And aside from, confirming the familial genealogy side, he didn't really say a lot about the DNA, and he was kind of, punting it off to, I have a team of people in my office who are doing the DNA side. I'm not really involved with that, which I'm not obviously disputing the fact, like, I know he's not, a scientist or an expert in DNA, but usually you would think that he would be briefed to the point that he can say more than that. But it seemed like he was almost using it as a scapegoat to not, give out more information on where things are at with the DNA.
Yeah, possibly. Or quite frankly, the FBI are the masters of this. The local agents usually defer to Quantico, and in this case, they actually went to a phenomenal DNA lab in Florida. And I believe that Quantico could be involved anyway with the results. And then, of course, it's the gumshoe work after that, which could be the local guys. But, it is a lengthy process. It is a finite process, though. And it can take months or years, but they get to the end. I mean, they do get to the end of their searches. So it'll be interesting to see what he has to say later we're at 6 months. How much longer are we going to wait? But talk to me a little bit about the length of time. I mean, Wyatt, every single time I talk to someone on the street about the Nancy Guthrie case, the very first question is, do they think she's still alive?
Thank you, Sharon.
And I know you had a chance to ask Sheriff Nanos what he thinks. That's different than what the public line is, what he thinks. And how did he answer?
So I kind of started it by saying, like, I recognize this is an uncomfortable question because it's almost getting you to tell us, where your investigation is going, kind of. But I said in an interview with Elizabeth Vargas that he had done 5 months ago on News Nation, he said, yes, I believe Nancy Guthrie was still alive. So I put the question to him, and he said eventually that if the family thinks, she's still alive, then so do I. But he also said something that was really interesting, and that was, as the sheriff, what benefit?
From what I've heard, I thought this boy was 14. Am I wrong? 17? I thought he was 14. I could be wrong. Whatever age he is, he's fantastic. Look at him, and he's even wearing his nice little blazer there, and he's doing being all professional. He's done a wonderful job. Okay, so he's 17. Okay.
Does it do to the public if I say I think she's dead?
Okay.
Which, to me, you wouldn't say that if you think she's still alive. I think he's saying that because he knows that the public sentiment is very much right now that unfortunately she likely, is dead. And so he's saying that because he's trying to satisfy the needs of the investigation while also satisfying the desire.
I can't help to. I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it. This rear end here.
He knows.
Okay, pink shirt, rear end matches the rear end of the porch
that the
person.
Public sentiment is very much right now that unfortunately she likely, is dead. And so he's saying that because he's trying to satisfy the needs of the investigation.
To me, it's very, very similar to the rear end of the person on the porch with the track pants on, and is just square. Very, very similar, in my opinion. It's just my opinion.
While also satisfying the desire from the public to have more information.
He walks a fine line because obviously it's super painful for the Guthrie family. Savannah just came out with her comments, I think yesterday, and I'm recording this on the 28th of July. But to that end, how is his relationship with the Guthrie family? Talk to me about your questions, that you put to him about his repartee with them and maybe why he's saying, I'm not about to just say she's dead.
Yeah, so I mean, he did say that of like, if the Guthrie family thinks she's still alive, then so do I. But then my follow-up to that was, okay, well, when was the last time that you talked with the Guthrie family? And all he said was he hasn't spoken with them recently. He did make a joke, though. He said she has my contact information. The whole family has my contact information. And then he said practically the whole world does too, including you, referring to me because I reached out to him for the interview. But there had been reports, right, that there was some friction between the Guthrie family and the sheriff's office. There was, some reports as well that had said that Savannah Guthrie was developing her own team, kind of, which he acknowledged in the interview. But he said that he has, quote, zero indication that the Guthrie family is frustrated with law enforcement, which I don't know if that's fair, because I think obviously anyone who was in this unimaginably tragic situation probably would want the pace of the investigation to be moving a little bit faster than it probably is. But I think he just is trying to, stand up for law enforcement and clear his own name as well in all of this, because he's obviously been prone to a lot of criticism on social media by local officials, facing obviously the vote of non-confidence by his own sheriff deputies. So I think, again, he's trying to kind of protect himself while also serving the interests of the.
Thank you for trying, BB. Thank you, hon. Thank you for looking for me. No hurry. I don't need it right this minute. Thank you for spending time on that. Thank you very much.
Investigation.
Ooh, I'm going to ask you that in a minute, because I know you were going to, talk to him about the vote of no confidence and if his guys, how he feels about the fact that his guys don't have confidence in him. But I want to ask you about the early offense, because I'm one of those people who's been extremely critical of the sheriff, because I'm in the business of true crime and I know investigations. And
I said this I think it was last week. I did, more current readings on the situation about 2 weeks ago, and I've been telling you guys tidbits over time. And I have to. I have a feeling that Savannah, unfortunately, is going to be almost doing like double grieving here, if I'm correct. She's going to be grieving two scenarios here, and to be honest, I think she already is. My readings tell me she already knows. I firmly believe in her heart, she already knows. Like I told you guys this, I don't know when I did this, 2 or 3 weeks ago. Remember, I kept getting sibling rivalry, and I kept getting one sister thought the other sister was a princess, and like there's definitely some hard feelings going on there. Yep. She's going to be very upset if I'm correct. But I do believe she's already pre-processing it, and she probably knows deep down inside. I could be wrong, but that's what my reading said. Yep. 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 And my hat's off to her, the power to her to continue to keep working. That shows a very strong woman, you know, very strong woman. Good for her, you know. And to be on TV and still continue, I can't fathom how hard this must be on her.
I saw some things early on in this investigation that were a total mess. And that is within 36 hours, he released the scene. He said, there's nothing to see here. There's no cause for alarm in the community. And you know, we've stopped the search for Nancy Guthrie. And I thought, what the heck were you thinking? Did you press him on those early decisions and whether he now recognizes that they were all really bad decisions?
He, to be honest, what I tried to do was stay away from things that he's been asked about, you know, a bajillion times. And so he had said to the Arizona Republic that he thought the scene was released too soon. But then later he told KVOA that he thought any kind of suggestion otherwise was silly, was the word that he had used. And so the kind of angle that I took with this was highlighting some of the contradictions that he previously had. But I mean, he's acknowledged, of course, several times that some of the early scene decisions may have implicated part of the case. But I think that he, even in the interview, his mentioning of the FBI director, Kash Patel, was almost an attempt to try and, again, use it as a scapegoat to take accountability away from his office and put it on somebody else.
I have wondered early and often if they focused on the wrong thing too early and too hard. Early, his guys told me that they had their prime suspect, and it was the brother-in-law. They towed the car of the brother-in-law and his wife, Annie, and they kept it for over 2 months. And I'm wondering if that's why he said the words, there's no cause for concern in the community. We've shut down, you know, the search for Nancy and we've released the scene. And I'm wondering if because perhaps they were focusing too much on the brother-in-law that they missed Porch Guy, whoever the heck he was.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't actually ask him directly about the brother-in-law. For one reason, I was trying to be a little bit strategic in terms of like the behind the scenes of the interview about things that I had seen him get angry about in the past. And I know that he's obviously cleared the family and he wasn't going to say anything too different likely. But he gets quite angry when people ask him about the family members. He gets quite angry when people ask him about his own criticism that he's facing or some of like the local politics in his county there. So my angle with it was trying to ask him questions that I knew would make news depending on his answer, and also balancing that with not making him so angry and egotistical.
Thank you, Patty Cup. I appreciate that. Done a lot of readings this last few weeks for people. I think I've done readings for almost all of you in here. And thank you for saying that. That means a lot to me. I need people to, like the whole point, I just need people to listen because I might be able to help, you know. I know it will never happen, but I can always hope that one day that I get a job with like the FBI or the CIA or something. That is my goal, honestly, is to actually be on their lists of mediums that they turn to. That's my goal. That's my goal. I would be so happy. That's why I do what I do. It's about helping people. I enjoy helping people, and all the families I've helped where we found their missing loved ones. I say this 100 times. The very best moments I've ever had is hugging a mother after we found her like daughter, and being able to stand there and give the mom a hug. That is why I do what I do. There's no other words. It's almost like it's my life purpose, honestly.
In some ways as well, that he would not want to answer some of the other potential newsworthy questions that I had had.
Yeah, I mean, he does have an ego, and that's not me. That's a lot of sources. Many of the people who work for him and people who are no longer working for him say that that is his Achilles, that he just has such an ego, and that he's rewarded people on the force with big jobs who weren't ready for prime time. You know, that there were very few people with homicide experience running homicide. And running this show. And that's one of the things I wonder, like, you make critical mistakes early on and you may completely blow the case. And here we are 6 months later. Did he say anything about leads? Did he say that leads are still piling in, that they've got thousands to still go through?
I mean, he said that they had slowed down. I asked him if he could quantify that in some way. Obviously, quantifying it in this instance isn't necessarily an exact number.
Yes, absolutely, I can. Yeah. Go back on my channel to like last week, I think it was. I actually solved. I swore I would never ever say. I swore I would never be one of those psychics that say, "Oh, I solved that case," and then brag about it all over the internet when they didn't really solve the case. But I did. I solved a murder case back in January. I did it. I showed you all. It's on my channel. A couple weeks back, I made a big headline. I solved a murder case. I actually solved the case. And this criminal is now in prison for the rest of his life. So, yes, I sure can. That's actually kind of something I want to start doing, actually, is look at cold cases and past crimes and see what I get. Yeah. So I'm glad you asked that. It's not just finding missing people. I can give you answers, names on who's done what. Like, yeah. It's amazing. And I'm so freaking grateful to my guides.
So much as just like a general indication. And yeah, he said they have slowed down. But I think the way in which he was trying to provide this answer was acknowledging the truth, and that is, again, that they're not getting nearly as many leads as they were at the very beginning, without making it, you know, a reason to think that the case had gone cold. And so he said, we're getting a fewer amount of leads, but, you know, we're still getting some of high quality. And he was playing this balancing act basically for the whole interview. And so in the context of that question in particular, I pushed him on it a little bit, but I think it goes back to the balancing act and the fact that he's just so nervous that he's going to say something that will just completely upend the integrity of their investigation. And he did rely on that a lot when I asked him questions about the physical evidence, because I asked him about the flower pots that were reportedly near the door and whether or not he thought that they did that for a fast exit. He declined to answer that. I asked him about the blood pattern. You know, was there blood both?
That I'm not going to get all into this discussion of this, but that's just for you, Nina. That's just you, okay? I'm not going to get into a big discussion on psychics and Christians, and I don't want to go there on my channel. But if that's what works for you, that's what works for you. I have hundreds of psychics on my channel that are my friends, and they're Christian. So I just don't want to go there. We're not going to talk about that stuff. Okay. It causes serious arguments, and I'm not going to go there. But whatever works for you, then that's awesome. Let it work for you. That's great. You know? Oh, don't even start with me, please. We're not discussing religion on here. Okay?
Inside the
Oh, wait,
house.
wait, go back to
outside
the flower
house.
pots. How did
Yeah.
he decline? Did he say, I'm not going to discuss that? Or did he say, I don't know if the flower pots were left there for that reason? Like, how did he dismiss it? Because
declined.
sometimes you can get
declined.
info.
No, he declined because so on that one and the blood pattern one, both of them together, he declined, saying, I'm not going to talk about anything to do with the physical evidence, which, I mean, I think there was one question that I asked him. I can't recall exactly what it was, but it was a physical evidence question that I had thought he had addressed before. And so then my mind went to, well, maybe he's just refusing to answer any questions at all now on physical evidence, even the ones where he could theoretically give an answer on, because he doesn't want people to, you know, be able to identify which questions he's kind of hiding from and not giving an answer on.
So did you get the feeling that he's answered physical evidence questions before, but suddenly you've asked those ones and he's all
Yeah,
mum
that's
and
kind
not
of what
saying a
I'm
word?
getting at. Like,
Yeah.
people have asked him. I think you even might have asked him when you interviewed him about the flower pot stuff, right? Like
No, God.
No, you
Oh,
didn't.
he won't talk to me because I had an interview with him on day one. And after that, he hated me because I talked to his guys and they said, we've got our prime suspect and it's brother-in-law. And he was so angry that either that I said it or that his guys said it and I said it.
Yeah, well, so I think any of the times I've seen him weigh in on physical evidence, he does it very carefully. But I still thought there was maybe a possibility that he would answer some of those questions because, as you said earlier, we're 6 months into the investigation now. Revealing that type of information, like it could help the public, you know, find leads that could then lead the department to figure out, you know, a potential suspect. Because the way I'm kind of was approaching this interview was we're 6 months in. The public, as far as most people are concerned, don't really have, you know, much more information than they did on February the 1st when it first happened. And the department really hasn't done very much to reassure the public. He said, even when I asked him, is there a possibility that the suspect is still in the Tucson area, referring to that ransom note that had quoted as outside Tucson, he said, well, absolutely, that's still a possibility. So I think if they haven't even ruled the suspect out of the Tucson area.
Wow, I'm surprised he actually addressed it and said, yes, it's still a possibility. He should be coming out and telling his people of Tucson. He needs to tell his people of Tucson that, his public. He needs to let the public know, are they safe or are they not safe? You've got elderly people out there, elderly women living in their homes alone that are terrified. They're terrified. They're terrified. And they got people in their neighborhood harassing them outside their homes. These people are in their 80s and they're terrified. Nanos needs to address the people of Tucson and say, okay, I think you know, tell them if they're safe or not. That just really gets me mad, actually. Yeah. You know, there's a full understanding on why they don't want media and YouTubers and stuff in the area anymore. I get it. I totally get it. The neighbors that live there, they're scared. I would be terrified if I lived there, especially if I was in my 70s and 80s.
Which is, you know, not a massive area, especially where Nancy Guthrie's home is located. That speaks, I think, to the broader uncertainty with the investigation as a whole.
Kind of feels like they're no further along now than they were in the very first, you know, few weeks and months of the case, which is really upsetting for, you know, for Savannah's family.
Of course.
To that end, has he said what the trickle or flow of leads is like at this point?
Other than they have slowed down, and other than, talking about how they have received some leads that have
Yeah.
helped the investigation, didn't say obviously what those were, but he gave a number of hypothetical examples. He said, he gets leads from people in Ireland, for example, but the case was one reference that he had made. So I think, again, he's trying to highlight
Yeah.
some of the examples that make it seem as if they're still getting these really high quality leads.
Speaking of that, there's a case I covered last week, and I still haven't heard any. I haven't seen any updates or anything about another elderly woman that's missing. She went missing from Walmart. Her name is Jane Morgan, and she's missing too. But I found an article on it once, and I've not heard anything else about it. 84 went missing from Walmart after she picked up her prescription at the pharmacy. I think she was 84 years old. But nothing is being said about it. It's not being covered anywhere. Yeah. It's crazy.
It's, well, in some ways hiding from the fact that they really probably aren't getting the high quality leads that they need in order to put an end to this, because if they were, back to the Tucson thing, I think he would have been able to rule out Tucson, Arizona.
Yeah, I mean, it's a natural that the leads fall off. And, early in the case, the press gets the hammer taken to them for talking too much about the case or being outside on the street, out in front of Nancy Guthrie's home. And then when you get to this point, 6 months, and the leads slow, sometimes to a trickle.
Yeah, I was hoping there would be an update on Jane also, but there's not. Yeah, I understand Arctic, and I understand whoever you're talking to, Sunshine. It's okay. Just let it go, ladies. She was trolling me, okay? I've been doing this for 18 years. She was trolling me, okay? So, yeah, I was fully aware of what was happening here. So don't worry about it, ladies, okay?
Suddenly everybody wishes the media was all over it again, and
Yeah.
that the leads, would keep coming in, the good ones. Because like you said, some people from Ireland are calling with their ideas or their theories. That's not helpful to the police. They need good leads, which are information that's actionable. And that's the hard part. And it's never a cold case, because I know you mentioned that the sheriff said it's not a cold case. Well, heck no. It's never a cold case until every lead has been run down and there's no longer any more leads. And then they put the shoebox up on the shelf, and then it's a cold case. So this is a long way still from being a cold case. But is there anything that, does he have any regrets? Did you get any notion in your interview that he has any regrets about his part in all of this?
Not really. Going into the interview, I obviously did extensive research, and I had seen some of the ways in which he had treated different people. And I have to say, this isn't my own experience, because he was very gracious with me. But he said it was reported on the Crime Junkie podcast, they were interviewing one of the local reporters, and he had told one of the reporters about a week or two into the investigation, reportedly, that they shouldn't be messaging him at 9:50 p.m., which in Arizona, a lot of the newscasts there go to air at 10 p.m. So they were trying to
get Brianna Whitney, wasn't it?
I understand that aspect. I guess we're old school. Don't be texting people after, say, 9 or 10 o'clock at night. That's rude. But yeah, I get it. I get what he was saying there.
I think so, yeah. I don't recall her name, but I'm sure that's who it is.
She couldn't believe it. What are you talking about?
Well, especially again, it's one thing if it's a year into the investigation and the sheriff is probably with his family. It's a week into the investigation, absolutely no leads, right before their newscast. And he obviously, in that instance, didn't feel any remorse telling the reporter to, not message her, or not message him rather. And so that, I think,
that would have been such a good question to ask, right? That would have been the number one question somebody should have asked him. Very interesting.
Speaks to the broader fact of if someone's doing that, I don't know if they're the type of person who will reflect back and have certain regrets, if that makes sense. And so, I did kind of try and get to that when I was asking him about if he thinks, he should have done more with the Guthrie family. I also asked him if he thinks back to the Nogales and Sonora tips that were brought in. Should you have made an earlier attempt to engage with the Mexican authorities, for example? And he got a little bit puzzled. He was like, well, I don't know what earlier or bigger would have looked like. If you can tell me, then let me know.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, which I thought was kind of strange because
He's asking a 17-year-old.
He was very nice. He was very nice. I don't want people to get the wrong impression, but I just thought it was interesting. I think he was kind of talking, as the collective you, so to speak. But I just thought it was weird because when that tip came in from Nogales about the burial site, I thought, okay, we did an interview about this on my show. And I thought, okay, well, this is the first real tip about her whereabouts that we've received. And my notion in this question was just there seems to be nothing really done to put this tip to bed or to put it to rest. And so I just thought, maybe there's more tips like this. Should you be engaging with them more? Because we've only heard of that one from Mexico, and he didn't really answer that question either.
That's frustrating because the Mexican authorities thought it was important enough to dispatch some of their security forces to help that search group. They're very serious, bona fide search group. Look.
And the search group in Mexico, notice we haven't heard anything about that since then. At least I haven't seen it anywhere. Nothing's been talked about since this. It's interesting, right? Can't remember what they were called, the Sisters of Sonora or something. Okay. Did I cut my hair? No, I haven't cut my hair. Thank you, though. It's that new hair product I'm using. The black raspberry vanilla hair mist I made. It's really, really helping my hair a lot. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I love you all so much. Please do me a solid and hit the thumbs up button for me. If you're in the background, please subscribe. And I see there's 218 of you watching. Come forward and start talking. Say hi. Subscribe. Join my memberships. Gift memberships to people that are watching. I would be very grateful for any sort of super chats. Would be fantastic. Thank you so much. Have you noticed, for some reason, I don't get that much on my channel? I'm not sure why, but yeah, so I'm throwing it out there. Thank you very much. I see all the other YouTubers getting tons and tons and tons of love, and for some reason, I have to work real hard for it, it seems like. So thank you very much, and I appreciate all of you being here. Each one of you watching helps me out. Hit that thumbs up button, totally helps me out. It keeps my channel moving in the algorithm, and that's what we need as YouTubers. Okay, so we're almost done with this interview, and then I'm going to watch the end of Brian Enton's and see what Brian Enton has to say.
In the killing fields where they had unearthed 25, unmarked graves before.
Yes.
So
Right.
the Mexicans took it seriously enough. It's sad that the Pima County authorities didn't jump on that and say, we should jump in here too, and maybe do a team effort and maybe pull on this thread and see if there's more.
Again, was anything ever updated about that? The killing fields, that was a big deal for like a couple weeks, and then just now it's died off. We've not heard anything. Be interesting to see what's happened there. It's most likely cartel stuff they've found. I don't believe Nancy's down there, but it'd be pretty interesting, right?
To it. Maybe that'll happen in the future. Who knows? But it is a little frustrating to hear that that's not a big deal to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I also think just more broadly about the way in which this investigation is going. They're very much focused on the optics for the sheriff's department, which, I had actually received advice from Brian Enton, and he told me maybe avoid going to the local politics, because he gets very flustered when you ask about that. And if that happens, then, you know, he might not answer some of the other questions that you have. And so I wanted to ask him, though, because the overall optics of the sheriff's department right now, the non-confidence vote and some of his deputies expressing a lack of confidence, there was a few, I think even it was days into the investigation that he was spotted at a.
I am so impressed with this kid. I am so impressed with this kid. He is brilliant. He is doing such a good job. I hope his career goes through the roof after this. Okay, and I'm going to be right back. I'm going to get up and grab some water. You guys keep watching.
That incident with the reporter. So I just thought to myself, like, all of these different examples combined, surely there must be some reflection of what could have been done differently. You know, could you have brought other people into the investigation sooner to help with it? And perhaps most notably, like, maybe not dismiss people. Don't get me wrong. It's obviously very tragic and very sad for the Guthrie family, but clearing the family's name out of the investigation from the get-go might give the public the wrong picture. And, you know, I think just in general, like, you know, why aren't we asking more questions, and why are we just trying to put things to rest from the bat in order to save the optics of his own department?
Well, the optics have been the pits, you know, for him. He's taken it on the chin repeatedly. And I think a lot of it is deserved, a lot of it. But how did he respond when you went there about the no confidence vote? Effectively saying, none of your guys has confidence in you. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I actually didn't ask him about that directly, is what I was saying, just because I didn't want that to get away from the newsworthy questions.
Did you get in the back door on it, though, and at least try to figure out how he responded to that?
That's where I was going, kind of, right, with the Savannah Guthrie question and whether or not he thinks that the Guthrie family is satisfied with them. Because in my mind, I'm like, if the, you know, your own deputies don't have confidence in you, how could the Guthrie family have confidence in you, right? And obviously that sounded very, you know, firm and very assertive. So I was hesitant to ask that one directly, just because I thought there's other questions here.
Wow, he actually said that. Oh, good for this kid. Wow, he actually said that? Good for him. Hi, Queenie. That's amazing.
That might not, you know, be as punchy necessarily, but could help move this investigation along. And I think he did do, you know, a relatively good job of answering some of those ones, but it was just this idea that, like, he had just been very dismissive in general of the fact that people in his own office were failing to express confidence.
Daisy girl, thank you very much for the jewels. Gold coins, thank you very much, Daisy. I appreciate you. Hi, Red. Welcome to my channel. Sit back and relax. Welcome.
You know, in him at a time when they should be very united. Like, this is the one time that they are being put in the spotlight ever since Gabby Giffords was the last time that they were in the spotlight. He talked about that as well, the Gabby Giffords investigation. He said he was the one leading the investigation into her as well. He had said that it's a little bit different because the investigation into her was less of a kind of who did it type of investigation and more of a corroborating the facts and a motive behind it and everything. But he was drawing some similarities between that and also, you know, making reference to some of the exceptions. He was trying to highlight, I think, that the Pima County Sheriff's Office has been in the news for a lot of.
The Gabby Giffords attack. I remember that. I was living there then at the time. What a horrible. She was attacked. It was so horrible.
Bad reasons, obviously, recently with how slowly this investigation is moving in some ways. And so he said, in an effort to, I think, counter that, there was a homicide case recently in Pima County, and he said, in my department, you know, found the suspect and got through with it very quickly within a matter of just a couple of days. And so he, again, I think that goes back to the optics and wanting to paint his department in the best light possible. Which, you know, I have to say, the fact that he gave an interview to me and answered some of these questions, I at least give him, you know, some credit, because frankly, it wasn't looking like he was going to do that with a, you know, a major outlet even for the past little while, because that last interview he did was like an 8-minute interview with the local affiliate station there in Tucson. And so to me, it looked as if he was maybe dodging accountability, but I guess this kind of, for me anyways, made.
Oh my God. Okay, and Mark Kelly, is Mark Kelly, wow, that's really interesting. ABC. That's really interesting. Huh. That's one of those things that makes you go, right? Right? Very interesting. Very interesting. Yeah. Thank you for bringing that up. I hadn't even considered that. Yeah. Very interesting.
Things look like he's willing to answer some questions.
How did it go when you said, thanks for being with me today? How did it go when you wrapped it up?
He said, I don't know if I want to read too much into this or make your viewers read too much into it, but I said to him, thank you so much. That was great. It's very common that I say that after the interview. I want to end on a good note, regardless of how the interview went. And he said, well, I don't know about that. So I don't know if it was like a playful thing for him where he was like, joking about the quality of his responses, or if it was more of a serious, oh my goodness, I can't believe that I answered those questions, right? Like it was very hard to gauge, but it was definitely a moment that resonated with me, because either way, it's interesting that he said that after the conversation.
Well, I have been on the other end of an interview from you, and I remember being astounded at how much research you did and how much background you knew. It was one of the most researched interviews I've ever actually sat for, so I get it. I don't think he was joking. I think he was gobsmacked by this 17-year-old kid who's, about to become a senior in high school, who really put him to the test. So good job. Congratulations. Very well done. And thanks so much for being on with me. I hope it's certainly not the last time. And I really know it won't be.
Of course. Thank you so much.
My great thanks to.
That was amazing. That was amazing. Okay, we love Ashley Banfield. Let's see. Now I'm going to do Brian. We love our Brian Enton at News Nation. Where are you? So thank you again, everybody, for being here. Please subscribe. Please hit the thumbs up button. Please become a member. All the things. Let me just see what I'm looking for here. Take a couple minutes to get yourself a glass of water. Meet the person in the chat above you. Introduce yourself to the person in the chat that's above you in the chat screen. Reach out and get to know your fellow chatters. Okay, so Brian Enton, let's see, FBI, he's done some. Okay, we're going to watch today's. Okay, and everybody's telling me it's the last. Seven minutes or so. All right, let's, I've got it started halfway point here. Let's see what we got here. Welcome, everyone. Hi, Teresa. Oh, well, I'm glad you did say something, ABC. I'm going to take a look at that now. That's like got my interest. For sure. Okay. Brian Enton. All right. Fair use commentary. All the video credits go to the fabulous Brian Enton. Please subscribe to his channel. Please show him love.
That I've learned was worked in conjunction with law to sort of crack. The sheriff is now saying that there's multiple private.
Okay, so we're going to start in the
deliveries.
beginning.
There's definitely a sense that the neighbors in the neighborhood. Hey guys, thanks.
Okay, so we're going to just start in the very beginning here of Brian and watch his whole thing. He did a really good video here. Family familiar DNA is mentioned at the beginning of 9 minutes. Okay, thank you so much, Krista. Thanks, babes. Thank you. Right? 17-year-old, so refreshing. Yeah, good for him. His parents must be elated, yeah. All right, so let's keep going.
So much for checking out my show. Really, really appreciate it. I appreciate everybody for watching. Appreciate everybody who has subscribed. I'm back here in Tucson, Arizona, outside Nancy Guthrie's house. It's actually much, much hotter this time of year. I was just talking to Mo about that. Like last time we were here, I mean, it was really hot when we were here for several months right after Nancy went missing. And I've been back a couple of times, but just in the middle of the summer like this, it's like 110 degrees here yesterday. So it's brutal, but this is what the house looks like now. This sort of like wire chain in the front is relatively new. And you can see there's a private property sign, no trespassing, no deliveries. There's definitely a sense that the neighbors in the neighborhood don't really want people out here anymore, sort of want everybody to move on. You can see they've still got cones out here blocking these rocks. That's kind of where we used to set up, actually, where all those rocks are. And they've put all those rocks there now. Those weren't there. So that, you know, they don't, there's an effort to keep people kind of away from the area. In this episode, I'm going to really dive into the Savannah Guthrie video that she released, which I've learned was in coordination with law enforcement, and the language was so specific.
Thank you very much for the compliments. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you very, very much. Remember, if you want to book a reading with me, do it now. Readings are on sale until Friday. You can get a full reading from me right now at half price on my website.
And it was so clear that she was talking to someone specifically, you know, to the person who she thinks took her mom, and why she chose those words when she said she had a specific message, when she tried to sort of level with the person. I'm going to go through it with the former FBI profiler, because all of those words, it seems, were chosen very, very carefully. So that's going to be coming up in this episode. Also, Sheriff Nanos, the sheriff here in Pima County, has done a new interview, said a couple of interesting things, which I'm going to get to in this episode. I also want to show you guys, remember where the memorial was, by the way? You guys remember when I was out here, there was always flowers and candles and cards. This whole area was full of stuff. It's all now been removed. Again, the neighbors, people in the neighborhood have removed it. There's definitely a feeling here that they just kind of want to move on in the neighborhood. But I'm going to get into all the latest in this episode of Brian Ensign Investigates. All right, hey guys, hard to believe that it's been now almost 6 months since Nancy Guthrie went missing from here in Arizona. And I've told you guys before, and I checked in with several of my sources again. I'm told that things are sort of status quo, that they're still working hard. There's the task force. They're working around the clock really still, but that there's still no suspects at this point. I have been trying to get an interview with the Pima County Sheriff, Chris Nanos.
I totally believe they're just saying that. I totally believe that law enforcement is just saying there's no suspects. They can't talk. I believe they are on top of it and know exactly who's who, and they're just waiting for possibly DNA results, etc.
You guys might remember I did an interview with him early on in all of this, and sort of had an open line of communication with him for a while, but I haven't had much luck getting an interview with him in the last couple of months. And his PR team at the sheriff's office, you know, says that he's not doing any interviews right now, but then he will do interviews. He does interviews with one of the local TV stations quite a bit, and he actually just did an interview with a 17-year-old young man named Wyatt Sharp, who has a show on YouTube called The Sharp Exchange. He's actually a Canadian journalist. You guys may have heard of him. He's really, really talented. He's a really, I hate to even call him a kid because he's a young man at this point, but he started sort of doing social media and doing interviews back when he was like 13, 14 years old, and he's now 17. And he managed to get an interview with Sheriff Nanos. And I don't know if the sheriff just thought like, he's a young man and whatever, but he actually, Wyatt asked like really, really good, relevant, hard, legit questions. And so in a second, I'm going to get to, I've got other stuff I want to get to. I want to get to the latest on the Savannah message, and I want to get to my FBI profiler about why everything in Savannah's message he believes is specifically crafted and what he thinks it means in terms of what's happening behind the scenes. So I'm going to get to that a little bit later in the episode. But first, I kind of want to roll through a few of Wyatt's clips with the sheriff. And if you want to see Wyatt's full interview, you can look up the Sharp Exchange on YouTube. He has the full interview there posted, and he got a lot of information. But I want to play for you guys the things that stood out to me in his interview with Sheriff Nanos, now that we're almost at the 6-month mark since Nancy Guthrie went missing. And the first thing is he asked specifically about Kash Patel, FBI Director Kash Patel. And remember, there's been some disagreement between Kash Patel and Sheriff Nanos really since the beginning. And the latest was Director Patel telling Fox News that if they had been brought into the investigation earlier, remember, he claims that they were kept out of the investigation for the first 4 days or so. He's saying if they were brought in earlier, he thinks they could have retrieved more video. There was the Ring video from the front doorbell camera that the FBI was able to retrieve, but he believes they may have been able to retrieve more video if they were brought into the investigation earlier. The sheriff has said, wait a minute, we did have a representative from the FBI from the beginning, but Director Patel has stood by his claim that they were kept out. And it's interesting, Wyatt asked Sheriff Nanos about that, and the sheriff actually said that Director Patel has gotten bad information. Listen to this.
So I think that Director Patel heard information early on that just was inaccurate, and he certainly doesn't owe me an explanation or a question or anything. He's the director of the FBI. But when the information is put out there that's not accurate, I think it helps, it hurts the case. And so individuals like yourself to come out and ask for accurate information from me, I never have a problem answering them.
So apparently, the wires are crossed between the FBI director and the sheriff. Hopefully what the sheriff says is true, that sort of the troops on the ground when it comes to the FBI agents and the detectives actually working the case are all working together and getting along. But apparently there has been disagreement at the top. And I was actually surprised to hear the sheriff say that he hasn't had a conversation with Director Patel. I would have thought at some point they would have talked by now, but apparently there's definitely issues with the relationship there. Something else when it comes to relationships is with Savannah Guthrie and the sheriff. And Wyatt asked the sheriff if he has had any communication with Savannah Guthrie, and listen to what he said.
You mentioned Savannah. Have you spoken to her recently? She released that video yesterday, and I think a lot of people are probably wondering what the status is.
Okay, I gotta go AFK for 2 minutes. My hubby wants to order Subway for dinner, so I just gotta get that started, and I will be right back, okay? So mods, hold down the ship, please. Let this play, and I'll be back in 2 minutes.
Of the relationship between your office and the family?
Well, our relationship is a good relationship. I mean, these are tough times. But no, I've not spoken with Savannah recently. She has my contact number, as you and the rest of the world seems to have. But she's very gracious, and she doesn't need to contact the sheriff. She needs a team that she's very well aware of that works with her, and she's in contact with them at any moment of day, any time of day that she needs to.
So apparently it is not the sheriff who is communicating with Savannah Guthrie, which is interesting to think about. And I would imagine it is someone from the FBI. And I have learned that her latest video, which again, I'll get to in a second, sort of dissecting that, but that was done in conjunction with law enforcement and likely someone from the FBI. So I guess it's not the sheriff who has been in communication with Savannah at all, which wouldn't surprise me in terms of just like daily updates, but I would think at some point, since he is technically the person in charge of the Nancy Guthrie investigation, he's at the top and it is his department who's in charge and it's her mom who's missing. I guess I would have thought that they would be having some level of communication, and it does sort of make me wonder what that relationship is like behind the scenes, but we just have to take the sheriff at his word, what he said there. Something else he talked about was the DNA, and this is something that I've done several episodes on. I knew that there were several private labs working on the DNA, and remember there was DNA found inside the home. There's a hair that was found, there's mixed DNA, and that it's been difficult to sort of crack. The sheriff is now saying that there's multiple private labs working this and that the technology is evolving every day. And he sounds almost hopeful when it comes to the possibility of a DNA breakthrough in the case at some point. I'll listen to what he said.
I think what you were asking is, are we at familial type of DNA, not just our genetic DNA?
Yeah.
Are we doing something to find, maybe it's the second cousin that,
Yeah.
what I would tell you is both. We're doing all of it. And
Okay.
that's really the labs are doing it all. They're looking at genealogy, but they're also looking at specific pieces of evidence that they're hoping to get enough codi to say, this is who we're looking at. It's probably more complex than we want to get into, but I'll say this. The communication with our labs is ongoing. It's daily. They know the technology. They know that, for example, a lab in Kansas might be on the verge of something new, groundbreaking over here, where there's a lab in LA that's on the groundbreaking of, they're just working the case as a priority, and they're working it nationwide.
So I think the DNA here is something that we can all be hopeful about. And I've interviewed so many DNA experts, not only for the Nancy Guthrie case, but also when I was working, and I still am working, the Brian Koberger case. And it really is a science that is evolving literally almost day by day. I mean, there's like new DNA technology and new machines set to come out that I'm told could help with the Nancy Guthrie case. So I would not be surprised if at some point when none of us
Okay, dinner is ordered. Thank you for the waiting. Yes, sad, isn't it, Jenny? Hi, Pam. Good to see you. Good to see all of you. I see you all. Please hit the thumbs up button as you're coming in the door. And those of you watching the replay later, thank you for being here. I appreciate you all so much. Thank you very much for your love and support. Okay, let's keep going.
expected suddenly there is some kind of DNA breakthrough in the case. I hope there is. Sorry, I'm sweating so much out here. So interesting to hear him say that the DNA component of all of this is still very, very active and not surprising at all. And the last thing I want to play from the sheriff is there's always been this feeling that I've had and that locals have had that the person responsible for Nancy Guthrie's abduction is someone local to the Tucson area, that this isn't someone who drove in from far, far away. There's no real evidence to back.
Yeah, it's hard to say, Angel. We'll have to just wait and see. We don't know. We just have to wait and see. I just missed it, Krista. Okay, let me go back.
Back that up, but that locals have had that if at some point when none of us expected really the Nancy Guthrie case, but also when I was working, and I still am working, the Brian Koberger case, and it really is a science that is evolving, literally almost.
And they're working. It's a lab in the. They know that, for example, a lab in Kansas might be on the verge of something new, groundbreaking over here, where there's a lab in LA that's on the groundbreaking of. They're just working the case as a priority, and they're working it nationwide. That's something. Enough codi to say this is who we're looking at. Probably labs are doing it all. They're looking at genealogy, but they're also looking at specific pieces of evidence that they're hoping to get enough codi to say, this is who we're looking at. It's probably more complex than we want to get into. Say, a cousin that
Yeah.
did it.
Yeah.
Are we doing something? I think what you were asking is, are we at familial
Mhm.
type of DNA, not just our genetic DNA?
Yeah.
Are we doing something to find maybe it's the second cousin that
Yeah.
what I tell you is both. We're doing all of it. And
Okay.
that's really the labs are doing it all. They're looking at genealogy, but they're also looking at specific pieces of evidence that they're hoping to get enough codi to say, this is who we're looking at. It's probably more complex than we want to get into, but I'll say this. The communication with our labs is ongoing. It's daily. They know that.
Okay, well, I'll put it out this way. I'll put it this way. Those second cousins are probably shitting their pants right now. Very interesting. Very interesting. What do you think? Didn't Nano say he knew the motive? I don't know. I'm personally not aware of that. I don't know. He might have. So the second cousins are probably freaking out right now. Like, I did go on Facebook today, and there was I don't really go on the Nancy Guthrie Facebook stuff, because I think if I did, you'd be like, oh my God, I'd be head first into it for days. But I swore I saw something today. And there was a discussion about the certain cousins, okay? We know who I'm talking about. I'm not going to say names, okay? I don't like to name people on my channel. So just kind of figure out what I'm saying here. You all know who the cousins are. Don't say it out loud. So, pretty interesting stuff. It would be a total match to what I've been saying all this time. That's why I did this. That's why I was like, holy shit, I was freaking out today, actually. I was like, oh my God, I nailed it. So fingers crossed. Fingers crossed justice is coming. Fingers crossed. Well, welcome to my channel, Angel. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome, welcome. Like I said, you guys all know what my readings have said. It's the outer circle. It's the outer circle. They got the core family. Then you got the outer circle. And you got the outer circle of acquaintances that are attached to. They're all connected together. Bam. Very interesting. It's okay, Mariette. Yeah, it's okay, babe. Very interesting stuff. Okay, so yeah. I do believe the law, according to my readings and everything I've gotten, law enforcement is on the right track. They're definitely on the right track, and there's going to be answers soon. And I firmly believe Savannah already knows. Like, it's in this one. We're going to watch this here. Savannah's new talk, right? Her new statement that she brought out. I believe she knows exactly who she's talking to. I really do. Like psychically, she knows who she's talking to. So let's look at that again. Watch, he's got Savannah up here.
Let me replay you Savannah's message.
I'm coming on today with a very specific message. It has been months since our mom was taken from us. Our family is in agony. We are in a nightmare that will not end. Nothing about our situation has changed. We have done our part, and we will never stop looking for her. We will always ache for her and feel that hole in our hearts. The world can be a cruel and unforgiving place, and I know that you have tried to do things the right way. So I'm asking you, begging you to do the right thing now. Make the right choice. Help us find her. Tell us where to look for her. I truly believe it is never too late to do the right thing. Help us bring this situation to an end. For all of us, no matter where we've been and what we've done, I believe there is always a way home. Please make the right choice.
She is definitely talking to a specific person here.
Very specific.
And her statement where she says, we have done the right thing. Also, we have done our part. We've done our part. That's very interesting. That might have nothing to do with like the Bitcoin stuff. Maybe this is a deep family thing. Maybe they've designated a piece of Nancy's estate, or who knows? That's kind of what I'm reading here. It'd be something that only a family member would know what she's saying. And this statement at the end, I know there's always a way to find your way home. That's also very telling to me as well. That's like a statement a family would say to each other, like a bonding stick, make sure you always find your way home. Make sure you always find your way home. That's something you would say to a family member, right? Or we'll leave the light on for you, that type of thing. I'm positive of it, absolutely positive.
Specific message.
Positive.
And I'm going to get to my FBI profiler who's going to pick the entire thing apart and explain sort of what the motivation is he thinks behind all of this. But first, let me replay you Savannah's message.
I'm coming on today with a very specific message. It has been months since our mom was taken from us. Our family is in agony. We are in a nightmare that will not end. Nothing about our situation has changed. We have done our part, and we will never stop looking for her. We will always ache for her and feel that hole in our hearts. The world can be a cruel and unforgiving place, and I know that you have tried to do things the right way.
Holy shit. Okay, so you know what oh my God, I just got it. Okay, so her statement here.
The world can be a cruel and unforgiving place, and I know that you have tried to do things the right way.
Okay, so I'm reading that right now, and I'm getting that she's talking to somebody that has an addiction problem. Point blank. Wow. That's totally it. She's talking to someone that has an addiction problem. Acknowledging that, yes, you tried to do the right, you tried to be sober. You tried to do it the right way. And now you're off track. Fucking yes, I got it.
And I know the world can be a cruel and unforgiving place. And I know that you have tried to do things the right way. So I'm asking you, begging you to do the right thing now. Make the right choice. Help us find her. Tell us where to look for her.
I'm blown, actually. Okay, and if it is the cousin, outer circle cousin, there's drug problem there. I think there's drug problem with a few of them. Oh my gosh. Wow. Oh, thank you. Yeah. Wow, that was so fast. No, I will shut my camera off. Okay, thank you so much. My dinner's here already.
I truly believe it is never too late to do the right thing. Help us bring this situation to an end. For all of us, no matter where we've been and what we've done, I believe there is always a way home. Please make the right choice.
So it was what seemed to be a very, very specific
right choice. I believe no matter where we've been and what we've done, I believe there is always a way home.
Wow. That's really telling to me. Like, my radar is just freaking going crazy here. Okay, hi Shirley. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, I'm gonna eat my dinner. My dinner's here, so I'm gonna turn my we're gonna finish watching this. I'm gonna mute myself and turn my camera off. And we will continue watching this, okay? Thank you all for being here.
Please make the right choice.
So it was what seemed to be a very, very specific message. It seems that Savannah is talking directly to the person who is responsible for taking her mother. And you can just tell, you've seen her talk about it on the Today Show a little bit. She did the interview with Hoda. This did seem like a more crafted message, similar to the videos that we saw her put out early on. Something that I've learned was worked in conjunction with law enforcement. So what does it mean? What does it tell us about what's happening behind the scenes in the investigation? Okay, so my camera is so hot, and it is so hot here in Arizona that it literally just turned off and said overheated. So I had to go in the car and hold the, kudos to Mo, by the way, shout out to Mo. He had to hold the camera in front of the air vent, and now I'm back to recording again. But anyway, I want to get now to my interview with retired FBI profiler Ray Carr. And I love talking to these guys because they just look at these things in a different way. And I want to hear exactly what he thinks about the Savannah Guthrie video and what it means to the bigger investigation. Hey, Ray, it's nice to see you. I'm actually in Nancy Guthrie's neighborhood right now. That's kind of what the backdrop is. I was curious. I wanted to talk to you about this new Savannah Guthrie video that came out. I learned that it was in coordination with law enforcement, which is really no surprise. The word seemed very sort of carefully chosen. What was sort of your overall takeaway?
The wording of her response appeared to be consistent with principles that I used in hostage negotiations. Now, I'm not saying that the Bureau was involved in doing this, but her message, it acknowledged receipt of communications. It didn't escalate tensions. It didn't make any threats. It didn't challenge the offender. It projected cooperation. And I think it left a lot of flexibility for law enforcement if they're listening. I'm not going to say that the FBI crafted this. It doesn't necessarily mean that the FBI wrote this statement, because it's an active kidnapping investigation. So when you have that, things like this are usually going to be closely coordinated with investigators.
What about the timing of it? Because, Savannah has put out videos here and there, but there hasn't been one in a long time. And when she's talked about it a couple times on the Today Show, it was more just casual, what she's going through. But as you said, this one, the wording seemed very specific. It seemed like it was deliberate, what she was trying to do. And do you think there's a reason that this was just put out now?
It could be coincidental, or it could have been planned. That's a great question. It's anything I would tell you would just be speculation with that. But families sometimes use these public statements as kind of like a controlled communication channel, and the offender, and this usually happens when when the investigators believe that the offenders are listening to the media. So whether or not the intent was to publicly confirm that, it's very difficult to say.
She started out by saying, I have a very specific message. It almost like, I took that, and you tell me what you thought, but I took that as, if you're the person out there, this is for you. This isn't just like my other messages where I'm just talking to everybody.
Now, she was talking to the person she believed was responsible for taking her mother, or persons at this point. Yeah, it was very specific. And she even said, you can always do the right thing. There's always time to do the right thing. And she made that very clear.
And she said, the world can be cruel. I know you tried to do things the right way. Like, I guess, what do you think is going on there?
Well, when you look at the notes, the initial notes, there's a couple notes. The first one's asking for money and asking for Bitcoin. Don't get law enforcement involved. They're not going to be able to help you. And then the second one came, and it was more apologetic. Hey, listen, I'm sorry, but we didn't understand or know that your mother was in such bad physical shape, and she's passed away, and she's buried in nature. So I think Savannah is probably relating that information that was in those notes to her comments.
Trying to say, I'm just going back to when she says, I know you tried to do the right things. I know you tried to do things the right way. Obviously, does she really believe that? Or is that just something the FBI is telling her to say? Like, I guess I'm trying to understand what she means by that. I know you tried to do things the right way.
Yeah, I'm not going to try and put words into the Bureau. The Bureau was behind this. Again, that's speculation. Although that any statement that's made in an active investigation is usually done in conjunction with law enforcement. But what she's saying, you have to understand.
That was delicious. Yeah, BMT is my absolute favorite. You like your chicken teriyaki? Love it. Fueled by Folgers and Jesus. I love your name. Folgers is the best. Everybody hit the thumbs up button for me, please. And if you're new, please subscribe. Please consider becoming a member. I usually do things every weekend for my members. I try to do stuff for my members most weekends, so please join memberships. Okay, so my reading, I just said what I believe there is when she said, I know you've tried to do the right thing. I believe she's talking to somebody she knows, and I believe she's possibly referring to their sobriety. I really do believe that.
Understand is I want this individual to come forward. I want this individual to let us know where Nancy Guthrie is buried so that we can recover the remains of Nancy Guthrie. If in fact she is dead, which everybody believes that that's the case. So knowing and understanding that, you know, I think what Savannah's trying to do is trying to give them an out. She's not going to be combative. And like I said earlier, she wasn't combative. She wasn't accusatory. She's just like, hey, let's do the right thing here. And I think that's where she's going with it.
And if that second note really was written by the person responsible, the one you referenced where they basically apologized and said she's with nature now, I guess you could be dealing with someone where they have some emotion. I mean, if that's real, you could be dealing with someone who would want to maybe do the right thing. If they felt bad, if that's real, that they felt bad in that second note.
If
you know, offenders,
it all kind of makes sense to me now. Like if it is a distant relative, it totally makes sense.
In my experience, frequently minimize the responsibility by saying some of the statements they said. I think one was, "We never intended this." Another statement, I think it was heart related. We didn't realize how difficult it was. And they also said to her, "There's."
It sounds like it's a statement coming from somebody that actually cared about Nancy at one point. And they're regretting it. They're regretting their actions.
Nothing you could have done. To me, these are classic examples of neutralization and moral disengagement by the offender.
What do you mean by that?
They're trying to separate themselves. Hey, it wasn't my fault. I didn't plan. It wasn't my fault. I didn't create this. It was her health that did this. So she's the victim twice here. She's the victim being kidnapped, and then she's a victim because she died when she wasn't supposed to.
So like they're trying to make themselves feel better by putting that out there. This wasn't my fault kind of thing. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, you know, some of the things is I don't think they really fully grasp what was going on here. You know, I don't even know. And some of the things in the notes lead me to believe that maybe English isn't their first language.
Bingo.
And the note may have been translated to them, or they may have given the information that was translated and written down by somebody else. Or it could be that they were just trying to disguise their writing. But the wording reflects someone trying to sound as though they're educated and detached. Like, I'm not the villain here. You know, this just happened. All we wanted was the money. And I think what's it's saying here, and some of my colleagues have said that she was specifically selected here. I think Savannah was the target. They knew she had money, and they went right away to her for that money.
Do you think, and Jim Clementi brought this up, do you think there's a chance that money wasn't the motive, and that because the letters are addressed to Savannah, and the way she's reacting now in her video messages, could the motive have been to get to Savannah's emotions?
That's very possible. That's very, very possible. Apparently, she was a secondary target in my estimation. The mother, Nancy, was a secondary. I believe the primary target was Savannah.
You do believe that?
I do believe that, yes.
Yeah. Especially the way these, I'm just thinking back to this latest video with Savannah that she made. That seems to lend itself to that theory that they're having her sort of like try to connect with this person in a way.
You know, a couple things stood out
Yeah.
in these notes. Number one, like I said, they targeted Savannah.
Thank you.
Another thing is they knew she had financial resources. They had a slight understanding of Bitcoin. They imposed rigid deadlines, and they said there's not going to be any negotiation. Now, in the things I've been involved in, and it's been limited to this type of situation, but experienced kidnappers typically negotiate. The no negotiation demand, to me, indicates someone that's inexperienced, was in panic mode,
Yep,
or kidnapping where money was secondary to another motive.
it does.
Now, what that motive is, we kind of talked about. Was it to Savannah or something dealing with Savannah? That's a good question.
It's so interesting you say that. So, because if money was the number one motive, would you have, it's like, would you have just given up on that? Would the person have just given up when they probably could have still gotten money in exchange for the body? Or why just disappear? And, you know?
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Well, hey, listen, there's panic. There's panic on these individual or individuals right now.
Okay, we're going to leave it there. I'm going to end it there. So, very interesting stuff. Hopefully, we have some good news and developments coming soon in Nancy's case. Like, please, God. You guys all know I have talked with Jim, and I am prepared to go down there and search with Jim. Him and I working together. But I'm hoping that we don't need to. I'm hoping she's found, like, right away. But I will go down there if I have to. You watched the live stream. Jim and I discussed it, and we're willing to work together and try our best to find her. But I'm hoping I don't have to. Okay, so in the meantime, so we're going to just end the end of the stream now. I'm going to just switch topics to Jack and Lilly Sullivan. Unfortunately, there's nothing new for Jack and Lilly Sullivan either. So I want to watch a few clips here just to give everybody a reminder of Jack and Lilly. Okay, Jack and Lilly are two beautiful children missing out of Nova Scotia. And again, this case is kind of stale. Nothing's really happening. So I just want to give you all a reminder. Please don't forget about Jack and Lilly, okay? So let's watch a few of these clips here.
Scotia is now closing in on a week.
Hardly any evidence at all since the first day. It's mine.
Okay. And you know how I told you guys all know that I'm pretty good at narrowing down suspects and stuff. I'm pretty good at that. Bam. Your days are numbered.
Mind-boggling that nothing else was found.
The family holding out hope for any shred of good news as the search enters its sixth day. 6-year-old Lilly and 4-year-old Jack Sullivan were last seen Friday at their home in Pictou County. It is believed they wandered away from the home. The search zone has been expanded into a wooded area near their home. More than 140 search and rescue workers have been scouring the area. The RCMP has also deployed high-tech drones. The search, it has now been 5 months, and there's still no trace of 2 missing children in Nova Scotia.
I know they brought in resources from other provinces. They're doing everything they can, but they need tips and they need the public's help in some way because somebody out there knows something and they're not saying.
4-year-old Jack and 6-year-old Lilly were reported missing from their home in Lansdowne Station. That was May 2nd. Police say investigators have received 820 tips so far. They've done 80 formal interviews. They have reviewed all viable video files collected from the area. The search has involved hundreds of volunteers, experts, and police on the ground and in the air. And now detection dogs searching for human remains are being used, and police say they will give an update on that search next week.
There are still no answers in the case of 2 missing children in Nova Scotia. It's been nearly a year since Jack and Lilly Sullivan disappeared, and police say they have no answers.
It's just flat out how it is. When there is foul play in these cases, that's why it takes so long to find them. When there's no foul play, these missing kid cases, they get found pretty quickly. When there is foul play, they've been hidden. And I firmly believe I know who has done this. Especially after solving a murder case. I solved a murder case back in like January. It makes me even more confident in knowing that I am correct on who I believe has done this. Justice, TikTok, let's go.
It has been a difficult time for the community and family.
Not having answers at a year later of not being any closer to having answers. And I just don't understand it. I don't understand why we can't have some information.
Belinda Gray is the children's paternal grandmother and tells Your Morning she is frustrated. There have been no
I've spoken with Belinda. She's a sweet, sweet lady. And my heart goes out to her.
No new leads. So far, police have formally interviewed 106 people, reviewed more than 8,000 video files, and evaluated and prioritized nearly 1,200 tips. The two children were reported.
Yeah, I know. We found him. Yeah, they found him. Parker. Yeah. Yeah. 500 feet in.
Oh, he was a ways.
Yeah.
He was a long ways.
It's so sad.
Yeah.
Missing May 2nd of last year, and since then, multiple searches have taken place. A boot print and a pink blanket that belonged to Lilly were found, but little else.
Good question, Kelstar. Do I think they've been trafficked or something? No, I don't. I don't believe there's trafficking or anything like that involved. I believe we're dealing with 2 men, possibly 3 men, who are doing some bad things. Again, it all stems back to drugs. And yeah, no, I don't believe it has anything to do with trafficking. It has to do with drugs and abuse. Drugs and abuse. I'm getting 2 brothers and possibly an uncle that knows.
The province is offering a reward of $150,000 for information. A public vigil is expected to be held this weekend outside the RCMP detachment in Stellarton, Nova Scotia.
Okay. All right, so we'll leave it at that. So no trafficking in this. I'm getting just bad people. Bad people that shouldn't be around kids at all, ever. Yeah. Oh, I'm sure there is, Krista. I'm sure there is, hon. I'm sure there is. Okay, so on that note, I'm going to wrap it up. This was good live. We're at 2 hours and 45 minutes. Thank you so much for being here. I love you all. Do you like the shirt? Because I'm going to order shirts to make some. I'm doing tank tops and t-shirts. So you like the shirts? I'm going to do white shirts and black shirts. And then maybe, I don't think I'm going to get this color, but I think I might get purple. Purple to match the purple on the logo. And they'll be up on the website. As long as I know people are interested and they're actually going to purchase them. And I'm going to do it. Yeah, coral would be a good color. Thank you, Krista. This is my color, one of my colors. This was like one of my wedding colors. Night shirts, yeah, for sure. Night shirts sounds good. Sounds good. And we do also have small logos for June's channel as well. And here, let me show you. I'm not sure what to do with the stuff for June's. I think I will make shirts for June's as well. Ain't it cute? So I was thinking of doing maybe bandanas for June for the dogs and hats, all kinds of stuff. As long as I know people will actually buy them, otherwise I don't want to invest my money if nobody's going to buy any. But they're beautiful. I love my graphics. They've turned out so well. Donna, thank you very much for these. You were kick-ass. And Savvy's going to be in charge of making the shirts. He's going to be the shirt guy. Yeah, bandana scarves for the dogs. Yeah, I think that'd be great. And then I can add it to Judy's merch line with her doggo soap and palm balm. Okay, so people are interested. Thank you so much. Hi, Michelle. Good to see you, hon. So everybody's interested, okay? You're interested for sure? I'll put the money out and invest in it. Okay. All right, everyone. I love you all so much. Don't forget to book yourself a reading on my website, spiritwhisperscandles.com. All my readings right now are 50% off. And everything on my website until Friday is 20% off automatically. So have at it. Thank you for watching. I love you all. And I will see you tomorrow. Okay? I'll be on tomorrow, I promise. I promise, I promise. Yes, it is a laughing face, Renee. All right. Have a good one, everybody. I'll talk to y'all soon. Ciao. Bye. Bye. A logo. Tie-dye shirt. Yeah, I could do tie-dye shirts. Yep. Yep. You bet. I could sell you a logo. Sure. You bet. All right. I'll talk to you soon.